Welcome everyone to this full moon Sidereal astrology forecast. This is for April 21st to the 22nd of 2016. I'm Athen and this is for Sidereal. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link because the signs are different. All right, so we have a full moon in Virgo here this late Thursday, early Friday. It's going to be at 01:23 Eastern time. So it's now another full moon here. The last one we had was a lunar eclipse. And so now continuing with this self-development, this self-improvement, which is what Virgo really symbolizes. So here's the full moon. There's no major aspects going exact with the full moon, but there are some things going on in the sky these next couple days, which we'll talk about. So let's go ahead and look at this full moon and what it represents. So basically, Virgo is about perfection and it's about refinement. Okay, and this is the continuous self-development that we've been going through. And this is both on the spiritual level as well as on the physical level, right? But the sun has been shifting into Aries this week. I think all of that spiritual stuff we've been dealing with for the past month roughly has been more on that, spiritual level. But now there's this shift of focus. All right, there's still some things going on we'll talk about, but there's definitely this shift of focus where we can start gaining energy through taking action. Okay, and this is what's making this full moon different from the last. I mean, it's different in many ways, but in one regards, the sun shifting out of Pisces, making it a bit more about motion, getting things in motion, taking action, gaining energy through action. And so there's a lot of self-awareness that can be gained through this. And if you think about what Aries symbolizes, is it's the beginning of the journey. So this is the new sidereal year, sidereal astrology year. And so now there's this new beginning, new energy, slowly building this momentum as the sun shifts into this very fiery and exalted sign of Aries. So within that context, focusing on where we can take action, I think it's an excellent time to continue with personal development, both on a spiritual, but I would say definitely on a physical level. All right, so this can be through your routine, perhaps diet, health, regiments, your work, self-improvement, these kinds of matters. And another thing about Virgo too is there's a lot of mental energy because the ruler Mercury is associated with it. And if you think about what Virgo is, it's, as humans, in order for us to perfect, in order for us to refine, we do have to use our minds. The mind is the human's tool of survival, if you will. It's what we use in order to make ourselves better, make our environment better and more sustainable, more grounded, which is that earth element. So I think using our minds for seeing where we can, again, improve things, improve ourselves, improve our immediate environment, thinking outside the box even, because the thing about Virgo is that with this time period, we can see the problems. And so it's a good time to see the problems and then find those practical solutions that go along with them, right? So it's the to and fro energy, seeing what might need to be corrected and then actually coming up with the solutions and again, implementing the solutions to correct them. All right, so that's the big emphasis here. I think balancing things this later part of the week in terms of perfection, finding a middle path with perfection, middle path with that analytical energy, with criticism, which is again good to see the situation, see the problems, but then of course in a balanced and healthy way. Exactness can be very strong with the Virgo energy. Okay, so balancing that and also balancing this very detailed orientedness, because we're seeing, again, the very fine details of things. All right, so it's an excellent time. Again, there's a cultivation happening, especially if you can think back to the past 6 or 7 months. If at that time you started anything new with your personal development, this can be a high point with that. But for all of us, we're gaining this insight, we're gaining this awareness in terms of what we can do to continue to cultivate our personal development. So that's the full moon. Now, if you can see here in the transit graph, we do have a couple aspects going on these 2 days. We've got here on Thursday, Mercury trining up to the North Node. So there is some insight, I think, coming in on Thursday. I think we can learn a lot about ourselves. I think we can learn a lot about our life path, in fact, which is that North Node energy. But all in all, I think just being open to learning about ourselves, again, taking the action, the steps. The North Node's a very direct kind of energy, and then we're learning through that process. And one thing too is that the North Node has been making its way into Leo, which is about now learning about expressing ourselves in new ways. This is the first time North Node's been in here for 18 years. There's this new direction, this new type of self-expression, which we're learning about with the retrograde Jupiter, but it's there. And so I think continuing to learn more about what we enjoy in life, who we are on the inner level, and letting that out for the world to see, but really just to give. You know, the highest octave of that Leo energy is giving ourselves, expressing ourselves. So that's the Thursday energy. And then as we go into Friday, we do have Venus conjoining up to Uranus. Okay, so I think here and then going into the weekend, there's a bit of this freedom we're probably going to want. Maybe it might just happen. It could be an exciting time, especially for you Taurans and Librans who are ruled by Venus. But in either case, it's, I think, us wanting to mix things up a little bit, wanting some freedom in our life. And I think it's an excellent day for that, of course, within moderation, because we are talking about a benefic Venus. But wanting that freedom in the material realm, perhaps, right? New things, new enjoyments, new sensual things, new foods, whatever it might be, I think can be excellent. And then also freedom in relationships, you know, I think is very important. There's been a lot of transformations with relationships and our perspective of them this week, which has been that Venus squaring up to Pluto. So now accessing the freedom of that, the freedom of being who we truly are and allowing those in our life to be who they are at the same time. So that's going to be very strong. Now it's all in Pisces too. So this is all about freedom of acceptance. You know, Venus is exalted in Pisces right now at the moment. So there is this ease of acceptance in relationship, which is nice, making these aspects a bit easier to work with and a bit more enjoyable. So I think continuing to see how we can have more acceptance, more unconditionality in who and what we value in life, I think can also be very freeing. All right, so that's the full moon in a nutshell. Again, the illumination of where we can perfect ourselves within moderation. Of course, nothing is perfect in this world except for the divine, which is that Pisces, but striving for that, being the best version of who we are and seeing where we can refine ourselves, improve ourselves, whether it's with the routine, the diet, whatever it might be. And that's helping ground a lot of this energy, which is starting to focus on where we can actually implement things. You know, and I think it's a great time to start getting that ball moving and start setting those intentions as well. All right, so I hope you guys have an awesome full moon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.